Louisiana Lawsuit Abuse Watch is a nonprofit, nonpartisan watchdog group, and our goal is to really promote transparency in our legal environment here in the state of Louisiana. We're known for being a very litigious state, so we want to shine a light on that and do our best to put an end to lawsuit abuses and to encourage the public to become involved and make sure that, that everyone knows their rights as a consumer when it comes to the law. Today we're holding a luncheon for some small business owners from the Acadiana area, and we're talking to them about lawsuits that target the Americans with Disabilities Act. The ADA certainly is a very important law that was created at the federal level to ensure that our friends and neighbors who have disabilities have access to public places. So it's a very, very important and well-intentioned law. Unfortunately, what we've seen are that some trial attorneys have taken this law as an opportunity to extort funds from small business owners who may be slightly off compliance with very minor issues for things like, say, having a mirror that is an inch or so too high or too low, or maybe a handicap parking space where the paint has become faded over time. And then they actually bring these types of issues to a lawsuit. And many times it's without ever even notifying the business owner in advance, so that they really don't have an opportunity to correct the issue before legal action is brought forth. So what we want to do is make sure that folks understand who are small business owners, and we're hosting the event in partnership with the NFIB, the National Federation for Independent Business, and we have some of their members here today as well. So we want to make sure that they understand the implications of these types of lawsuits to their businesses.
Small business owners, they operate on a slim margin. They have a number of rules and regulations and laws and things to, comply with. And so they're constantly, kind of opening themselves to risk just by being a small business owner. And so ADA lawsuits, what's concerning for our members is that folks can just kind of drive by, put these, form letter type lawsuits out against them without any warning, and pretty much demand a settlement and then not really be able to follow through with it. So it's hard for a small business owner to really be able to predict something like that. So a lawsuit, any type of frivolous lawsuit that comes at a small business owner out of nowhere, can really put one out of business overnight. So we have a real concern with programs like this that are happening where it seems to be a coordinated effort, and we have no way to fight against it. So we're trying to let legislators and small business owners know, what the pitfalls are and be aware, and so that they can avoid situations like this.
Problem is that there are these serial lawsuits that are being filed over disabilities, and they're being filed in group actions by some lawyers from out of state. Typically, the object is attorney's fees, and we need employers to make sure that they're complying with the law before those sort of things happen.
We've had rankings where Louisiana was ranked one of the worst judicial environments in Louisiana because of lawsuit abuse. Now, in order to have a good environment, you have to have a balance in everything. And your judicial system has to be well balanced. And you have to have an environment in Louisiana that says we're open for business here in Louisiana. And you got to encourage out-of-state investments. You got to encourage your citizens on the local level to want to start up a small business, because small business is the backbone of America. And it's also the backbone of our tax base. But how can a small business owner that saved all those pennies all those years and want to start up and take his life savings to try and start a new business survive in Louisiana with a litigation environment as it is? That guy doesn't have a chance. The only people that have chances are these large corporations that have millions and millions of dollars. But what about the everyday small business owner that just wants to make a living and raise his family and follow the American dream? And if we want to provide that American dream for him and to give him the ability to actually be successful, we need an environment in Louisiana where he doesn't have to worry about being shut down because of frivolous lawsuits or a litigation environment that's one of the worst in the nation. We want to say, yes, we want you to prosper. We want you to invest in Louisiana. We want you to pay taxes in Louisiana. But we also want you to be a good corporate citizen. And it's about balancing our judicial system and making sure that we are still attractive for those who want to invest in Louisiana. And we can be prosperous, but we have to work on our policies on the state level and create a better business environment here in Louisiana.
It really all comes down to jobs and to economic impact. So even the impact of even one suit against a small mom and pop business could be enough to actually cause them to go out of business. The cost of either settling the lawsuit out of court, which seems to be the goal of a lot of these attorneys who file these suits, or having to go to trial, the money that's involved in either one of those two scenarios is really enough to just break the bank for many small businesses, unfortunately.
If you have a small business owner who has to go and assess the situation based on a piece of paper that says, oh, you have this deficiency and that deficiency and you need to fix all that. Well, if a small business owner is already operating on a thin margin and things are not going well in the business, and then they get slapped with $50,000 worth of repairs they need to do and a short time to do them in, that could put them out of business. And so our small business owners don't want to have that, because that ends up affecting jobs. Their employees are going to be at risk, and so that's not really what we want to see happen in the long run.
A lot of the banks have been impacted over the last couple of years. So have the hotels. So have just about every organization you can think of, because there's some sort of item that someone believes they should provide to people who say they're disabled. So we're talking about comfort dogs. We're talking about swimming pool lift items. We're talking about websites, and that's happened to a number of employers. They had to go through a demand from a law firm, and then we had to defend against that. A lot of times we get it dismissed right away. Sometimes we have to deal with it, and still it depends on how much the cost is to provide the accommodation.
We believe that today has been a really great opportunity for our business owners in the area to really better understand the impacts of these lawsuits that use the Americans with Disabilities Act as an opportunity to gain more clients and to make more money for plaintiffs' attorneys, unfortunately. We've had a really good response today, and we feel like these business owners will take the information back and share it with others in their community. And again, that really goes back to the goal of law, or Louisiana Lawsuit Abuse Watch. We want to make sure that the public and our business owners really understand their rights under the law, and we want to make sure that they're not taken advantage of by others who actually may not have the right motivation. They may not be aimed at righting any wrongs, any minor violations of the ADA. They may just want to have an opportunity to sue.
What's your advice to businesses in Louisiana?
We typically have advised three things. One is to audit your property to determine what else you might have to do to accommodate the disabled. A second item is to go through and revise your personnel policies so that you are making sure that you're in compliance with the Disabilities Act concerning employment and the employment of disabled people and hiring of them. And third is to train the supervisors to notice issues so they can bring them to the owner's attention.
Well, I think it's positive. I think it's great to let small business owners know about all the things that are, that they're facing, the constant threats to being in business. And we appreciate the folks that are able to come out, learn about these things, and then go out and spread the word.
If people have questions like more information, what should they do?
We have two great resources on social media. We encourage people to follow us on Twitter at Reform Louisiana. That's our Louisiana Lawsuit Abuse Twitter handle. And also we have a Facebook page and a website, lawllaw.org. There's lots of great information there. And we also encourage people to sign up and become part of our law family so that we can share developments as they're happening, and encourage our supporters out there to take action and let their lawmakers and policymakers know how they can help change the tort climate in Louisiana.